right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm your host, Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co host, Jake Ellenbogen. And we're continuing with our 2022 NFL draft prospect interviews. And joining us on the show right now, we have Blake Hayes, punter from the University of Illinois. How are you doing, Blake?
Doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're happy to have you on. You're actually our first ever punter to ever come on the show. So congratulations to that. It's pretty awesome to have you on as our first ever punter. And I mean, obviously for multiple reasons, I mean, you're a fantastic punter in the Big Ten. And for the first time in a while, the Rams don't have Johnny Hekker. So they've had him for so long. Now all of a sudden punter is definitely a position that I could say the Rams are really looking at.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy because Johnny Hekker was one of the first guys that I started watching when I got into this whole process. And he does such a great job. You know, he's kind of changed his game over the years. And I really look up to those guys played all the time. I haven't been there myself, but I'm sure it's just it's very chaotic and cutthroat business, and to be able to have a position for that long and be successful at it, one of the best. It's a credit to him and something that I definitely look up to as an upcoming punter.
For sure. That's awesome. He definitely is one of the best in recent history, and has a lot of respect, I think, in the NFL among all positions as a punter, which is pretty cool. But, you know, just talking about you, when was it that you started playing football? How did you get into football? And when was it that you knew that you could maybe play in the NFL one day?
Yeah, so I guess my story is a bit different to most. I'm originally from Melbourne, Australia. So I got into watching the NFL in junior year of high school. And I originally wanted to come over here to study abroad. I was kind of looking at that, and then I was playing a sport called Australian rules football, where we pass the ball by foot. The ball is very similar to an American style ball. And one of my school teachers put me onto a coach from Pro Kick Australia that started training me to become a punter for college. So I never actually played before I got to Illinois. So I was training at Pro Kick for about a year and a half, just learning the spiral punt and just kind of the game in general. And then my coach at the time who recruited me, he coached in the NFL for a really long time. So it was really cool to be recruited by him. And yeah, I came over, and the first game that I ever saw was the first game that I ever played in. So it was a pretty crazy adjustment for me. I kind of understood like the intensity of college football and how big it was, but I guess you don't really know until you come over here, and it's just such a big deal. So yeah, that was kind of my, I guess, welcome to college football. And then when I knew I could kind of step it up to the next level, I guess it's just kind of been a progression. As I said, my coach is in the NFL for a long time. So he's really been, as soon as I got to Illinois, he's really been trying to coach me in the way that an NFL punter like carries himself, how he acts and how he plays on the field. So I guess, you know, I had it in the back of my mind, but I just wanted to be the best college punter I could be. And then come my junior, senior year, and then my fifth year was really when, you know, it started to ramp up, and I knew that kind of my play would also be evaluated by the next level. So it was very exciting for me, and just like another opportunity to showcase my talents and the talents of the team.
Absolutely. I got to ask you, because, you know, I'm not sure if you necessarily had an NFL player that you really looked up to growing up, but if there is one now that maybe you model your game after, is there an NFL player that you would be able to fit in that mold?
Yeah, so I watch a lot of them, but specifically Thomas Morstead, who's been around for a long time, Brett Kern, the Titans punter, and the Ravens punter, Sam Cook. I guess to categorize myself, I call myself a directional punter, so aiming for the sidelines every time, because if you can hit it out of bounds, the return doesn't even touch it. So in a perfect world, you're trying to do that every time. It's easier said than done, but kicking it to the sideline really helps with the coverage unit. They can just push him out of bounds instead of putting a ball in the middle of the field, especially with these guys in the NFL. Obviously, they're just best athletes in the world. So that's kind of the guys I watch, and also because they've played a long time. So obviously they're doing something right. And I also look to how they carry themselves as people. They also do a lot of community work, which, is very inspirational and something I aspire to do if I can get to that level. So just all those combinations that fit into those guys is really what I look up to.
That's awesome. And you might have touched on this a little bit in your opening, but what was it that made you decide to attend the University of Illinois?
Yeah, it's funny how it works back home. We get matched with the school, so I was training for college, and I didn't do the rugby style of punts. I was straight just American spiral, and what ended up happening was my Australian coach got into contact with the Illinois coach, and his style of coaching and his style of punting that they implemented really matched the way I punted. And it was really just that. Not that I didn't have a say in where I went, but I put a lot of trust into my coaches about where to place me. And they had my best interests at heart, and they just put me at a really good fit. I also was focusing on academics a lot, and Illinois is a great school for that as well. So I just trusted them to put me in a great place to be successful, and that's I feel like that's what they did.
Yeah, it's actually a really, really cool story because that's a different scenario. I mean, normally, most kids get to choose where they go and whatnot. And the fact that you're placed there, it's kind of preparing you for the next level in that sense, because the draft, you get drafted, you go to the team, you don't get to choose the team. So
right.
that is an interesting dynamic there. Now, for incoming recruits, not necessarily punter, but if so, from that lens, how would you pitch Illinois as a place for them to go play football at?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because we had a head coaching change last year. So I was the first year, Brett Bielema, who came from Wisconsin, he, it was the first year of everything, kind of flipped the staff, and it's a completely new environment, and it's a very good one, and a very big improvement of what we have had. And I think just the environment of Illinois, it has a great balance between seriousness and enjoyment. I was able to enjoy my football a lot, and I think with that I was able to be a lot more attentive, and it showed in my play that I was able to actually become a better player. And I think what it comes down to really is the staff that Coach Bielema has built has a great interest for the person first, and then coaching the player. So I feel like he coaches the person and makes them a better person in and around the facility, on the field. It helps you be a better leader. And then when when you're at practice, when you're in the meeting room, it's really time to get down to football. And he really has a great way of developing you. And he has so many contacts. He was in the NFL for a bit, and he's always, searching for ways to help me get better still, even after I'm not on the team anymore. And he just helps those guys get better. And I think, it didn't necessarily show in our record, but we had a lot of games where we were close, one-score games, and we haven't had that in a while. And I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. We had some big wins last year that maybe people didn't expect us to get. So definitely trending in the right direction.
For sure, which kind of brings me into the next question. Do you have a favorite game that you played in during your college career? And I'm curious.
That was, yeah.
I'm curious if this is going to be the same answer, Jake, as we've interviewed some Illinois players already this season,
right,
and they've both said the same game.
Probably said the Wisconsin game.
Yep.
Yeah, at home. That was pretty special. Mm-hmm. I was the holder on the field goal attempt to win, and that was my first game winner. And yeah, I was kind of nervous at the time, not gonna lie. I hadn't necessarily been in that situation before, so it was pretty cool. You practice it a lot, but nothing really prepares you for that moment where, that I think there were 6 or something at the time. Times ran out, so you just got to make it to win. So our kicker, James McCourt, did an unbelievable job in that. So that was really special. My family were there. I had friends and family there from home. So that was just like even better. And I think more recently, the Penn State game, which went to 9 overtimes, that was pretty special. They had a sold out crowd. And, I don't think we expected to win, honestly. That was like our big mindset shift for the team. But I don't think many other people did. And the way it went with 9 overtimes was pretty cool.
No, that's awesome. And it's funny because it kind of overlaps with what your teammates were saying. It just seems like everyone really had the same thought process with that Wisconsin game. And I can't imagine. I mean, it must have been awesome. Kind of following up on that, I just want to ask you a little bit more about, being a punter, because this, again, is the first time we've ever interviewed a punter. Obviously, you watch the position. There's plenty of guys. I mean, we watched you. Obviously, we watched your film. Punter is a very important position. I mean, for a while, Johnny Hekker was the MVP of the Rams back in the day because he had to punt like 90 something times. So I want to get from you what your thoughts are on the number one trait you need to be a punter.
I really think the number one trait you need is mental toughness. It's a difficult position because I think from the outside, a lot of people don't place value on it, but I think specialists place a lot of value on their craft, and it's almost like an art form to us. We place a lot of importance on it, and it can, like you said, Hekker was an MVP, and those plays where it was a big punt, or he threw a lot of first downs, which was really cool. So just a lot of the times, if you're punting a lot, offense isn't doing well. Maybe like the team's lacking a bit of, momentum or intensity, and a big punt can really help and put that defense in a really good position. So, we talk about like complementary football, and just that ability to help both sides of the team really helps. And to be able to do that, you really have to be mentally tough, because it's really just inevitable that eventually you're going to have a bad punt, just like anyone else has a bad play. And we don't necessarily get a lot of plays. Might get, 4 or 5 punts, if that. So you really got to make use of it. And, if one doesn't go your way, just kind of having short-term memory and expecting the next one to be the best one.
For sure. And, earlier you referred to yourself as a directional punter. So that might be the answer to this next question, but what would you say is your biggest strength as a punter?
Yeah, kind of answers itself, directional punting. I did that all through college. I don't like hitting in the middle of the field, honestly. I think it would be for disaster, but there's times where it's needed. And then, going off that, just being Australian, it offers a much greater and wider skill set, especially for the kicks inside the 10-yard line. The way the game has evolved now, it's the end over end punts, which I've been doing since I could walk, similar to how Americans grow up throwing. We grow up kicking the ball. So it's just something that is just kind of, built in my DNA, just to hit those type of punts. And it's very natural to me. And I think you see a lot of Australians having a knack for it. So I guess just that touch inside 10 and directional punting is something that I really value in myself.
And now, Blake, what is one area of your game you're looking to improve upon the most?
Yeah, I think for me, I've been looking to improve my hang time over this off season and coming into like this draft prep phase and moving into, camps and things. Obviously, you can get away with a bit more in college. You can kind of play around a little bit, and the field's a little different. But yeah, the step up in the NFL with the formation and the speed of the game, the more hang time, the better. And if you can pair that with directional punting and have high hang time on the sideline, it's a perfect match. So just really trying to evolve that, and then just trying to get consistent with all those three with direction, distance, and hang time. Those are kind of the three main pillars of punting.
Right. And you actually ran a fake punt against Nebraska that went for a first down run. Do you prefer a fake that involves running the ball or throwing it?
I'd probably maybe throwing it, because I probably made myself look like a bit of a fool on that one against Nebraska. It was pretty funny. I got a lot of heat for that, but I mean, I got the first down, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Coaches are happy. We actually practiced the throwing fake a lot through my career, and we never got to run it. It was something I wish we did. So probably now I'd love to throw it. I think that it'd just be cool to have some rushing yards and passing yards to my name. I think it'd be pretty cool, and it kind of gets the team going a little bit.
Yeah, you had me a little worried there when I saw the fake, and I was wondering why, because all these, I remember when this happened like live, and all these different sports betting Twitter accounts were like, when you try to juke in Madden and you accidentally juke too much or whatever, and I was like, I hope he at least got the first down. And I'm like, all right. And then they gave you a little bit of a lick on the sideline too. I mean, they're just trying to get out of bounds. They're like, all right, I got the first. Right. I'm just trying. And then they come over and they try to punish you, man. So, props for you getting the first down there. I cannot imagine what that looked like. Probably similar to the other side of things when you're punting it to the returner and they see all those guys coming at him. But pretty crazy there. But I got to ask you, because, we kind of talked about a little bit, that the Rams, I know they just signed Riley Dixon. We're not convinced that Riley Dixon's the only punter that will be on the roster. So with that said, have you spoken to the LA Rams yet?
I was able to go to the combine. So we were able to speak to every team there. So I guess to answer your question, yes. I guess they just signed Riley Dixon, but to be able to, I guess, if the opportunity came to compete and learn from a guy like that who's been in the league for a very long time, there's a lot of value in that. And, as soon as I got to Illinois, I tried to find the best players and see what they did and see why they're successful on and off the field. And I think a guy like Dixon, he's obviously had a lot of success, just being able to go in there, compete and learn would be a great opportunity.
For sure. And, to close this out, just in your own words, who is Blake Hayes as a player and who is he as a person?
Yeah, good question. Blake Hayes as a player, consistent and a leader. I was a 3-time captain at Illinois, so I really value myself on leadership. I kind of class myself as a leader by example. It's a little bit difficult to be a vocal leader on a football team, especially in the special teams realm, to the whole team. But a consistent player who's a leader on the field, and I guess that carries off the field into my work. I've done charity work through my last 2 seasons. I think you get an honest and trustworthy guy that's really just down to do the hard and gritty work to help get the wins for the team, and I guess in the Rams sense, bring another Super Bowl to the town.
That's the way, man. That is the way. That's a great answer. And just kind of, I'm going to wrap this up asking you a little bit of a different type of question, kind of off the field question. If you could, can you recommend us a TV show, an album, and a snack?
Okay. It's good. I like the questions that are different. TV show. What did I just watch? I guess I'm kind of in the bandwagon phase of Formula One. So I just watched the Drive to Survive series on Netflix. That's a really good one. So I'd recommend that. Album. I'm actually a rap fan a little bit, and Nas's album, I think it came out last year. That I still kind of listen to that through all the way, so that's a really good one. And then snack. man, just the classic Cheez-Its, extra toasty. Goes a long way. So I love those.
I love Cheez-Its as well. And that was a really great album. I think didn't he release 2 back to back?
Yeah, I think it's coming to mind now. I think it was called King's Disease 2 was the new one.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm thinking of someone else.
Kind of got
Yeah. And then the show.
I really like that one. That was kind of my pregame.
Yeah, well, the Formula One show I've heard is very good. So definitely.
Yeah, I keep getting recommendations for that. So, yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I got kind of sucked into it by my older brother. And then I watched the 3 seasons in too quick a time, and then the season's on right now, like the actual races. So it's kind of a good time up with that. So it's been really good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, for taking the time. We know it's a really, really busy time because the draft is approaching and it's so close. But we really appreciate you coming on the show and chatting with us. Very excited to see where you end up. We will be fans no matter where you go. Hopefully it's the Rams, but you have a 1 in 32 chance. So if it's one of the other 31 teams, we'll still be fans. But thank you again, Blake, for coming on the show, and we will stay in touch.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, Blake. You take care, man.
Appreciate it.